Have you ever heard the saying, "Fool me once, shame on you"?
Fool me twice, shame on me?
Well, today's story is a masterclass in not even getting fooled the first time. It's a classic tale about wisdom, observation, and knowing when to keep a safe distance. So grab your popcorn, get comfy, and let's dive into the world of a very clever fox and a rather cunning lion. Our story begins in a sun-drenched savanna, where a once mighty lion was facing the harsh realities of old age. In his prime, he was the undisputed king of the jungle. His roar would send shivers down the spines of every creature, and his powerful claws and sharp teeth ensured his belly was always full. But time, the great equalizer, had caught up with him. His roar was now more of a raspy cough, his teeth were worn down to dull stumps, and his claws were brittle. Hunting, once an effortless display of power, had become a frustrating and often fruitless chore. He was slow, he was weak, and he was hungry. An empty stomach can make anyone desperate, and this old lion was no exception. He knew he couldn't rely on brute strength anymore. So he decided to use the one thing that hadn't faded with age, his mind. He hatched a cunning plan, a scheme so devious it would bring the food right to his doorstep. He would play the part of a sick, helpless old king. He dragged himself back to his spacious cave, letting out a few pathetic groans for effect. He then sent word out through the jungle, a little bird here, a gossiping monkey there, that the great lion, their king, was terribly ill and lay on his deathbed. He made sure the news spread far and wide, painting a picture of a frail, lonely monarch who simply wanted to see his subjects one last time to bid them farewell. Then he settled down in the cool darkness of his cave and waited. He knew the animals of the kingdom, out of respect, duty, or simple curiosity, would soon come to pay their respects. And he was right. The plan worked like a charm. Before long, a steady stream of visitors began to arrive at his cave. First came a kind-hearted deer, her large, gentle eyes filled with sympathy. "Oh, your majesty," she said softly. "I was so sorry to hear you were unwell." The lion, putting on his best weak and weary voice, thanked her for her kindness and beckoned her closer. Come in, my dear," he rasped. Let an old lion look upon a friendly face one last time. The unsuspecting deer stepped inside, and that was the last anyone ever saw of her. Next came a plump zebra, followed by a chatty warthog, and then a whole family of meerkats. Each one approached the cave, offered their condolences, and was met with the same tragic fate. The lion's cave, once a symbol of royal power, had become a deadly trap. From the outside, it looked like a place of solace and sympathy. On the inside, it was a gruesome dining hall. The lion, who had been struggling to catch a single meal, was now feasting like a king again, all without moving a muscle. He marveled at his own brilliance. The world, he thought, was full of fools, but not everyone is a fool. One day, a fox trotted up towards the lion's den. Now, foxes have a reputation for being clever and cautious, and this one, Master Fox, was the cleverest and most cautious of them all. He had heard the news of the lion's illness and thought it was his duty to pay a visit. But as he got closer, something made him pause. He was naturally observant, and his sharp eyes scanned the ground around the entrance to the cave. He noticed something peculiar, something that sent a little shiver of unease down his spine. The soft dirt in front of the cave was covered in footprints. There were tracks from deer, zebras, warthogs, and many other animals. But here was the strange part. All the footprints were pointing in one direction into the cave. There were absolutely no footprints leading out. It was a one-way street, and the destination seemed rather permanent. The fox's mind began to race. Why would so many animals go in, but none come out? A sick lion might appreciate visitors, but he wouldn't need them to stay forever. A little alarm bell started ringing in the fox's head. Instead of rushing in like the others, the fox stopped at what he considered a very safe distance. From there he called out in a polite and cheerful voice, "Your Majesty, I hope you are feeling better today." The lion, hearing a voice but seeing no one entering, was a bit annoyed. He peeked out and saw the fox standing far away. Hiding his irritation, he put on his most pitiful act. "Oh, is that you, my dear fox?" He moaned. "It is so good of you to come. I am very, very ill. My old bones ache, and my strength has left me. Please, won't you step inside for a moment? My eyesight is failing, and I'd like to see your friendly face up close." It was a tempting invitation, delivered with the perfect blend of royal command and pathetic plea. Many would have felt obligated, or even flattered, to be summoned personally by the king. But Master Fox was not like many. His brain was working faster than ever, connecting the dots. The sick act, the invitation to come closer, and the most damning evidence of all the one-way traffic of footprints. It all added up to a very clear and very dangerous picture. The fox kept his respectful tone, but there was a new, steely edge of wisdom in his voice. He bowed his head slightly and said, "Thank you so very kindly for the invitation, Your Majesty. I am deeply honored. And I should be glad to do as you ask, truly I would." He paused for a moment, letting the lion think he had won. Then he delivered the final, brilliant blow. "But," he continued, "I have a small question, if I may be so bold. I have noticed that there are many, many footprints leading into your cave, but I can't seem to find a single one coming out. Pray tell me, Your Majesty, how do your visitors find their way out again?" There was a dead silence. The lion was completely stunned. He had been so proud of his clever plan, so sure of its perfection, that he had overlooked this simple, fatal flaw. He had no answer. The fox's question hung in the air, exposing the entire gruesome scheme. The lion could only stare back, his cunning plan shattered by the simple observation of a creature who chose to look before he leaped. The fox, seeing the look of pure, unadulterated fury on the lion's face, knew his suspicions were correct. He gave another polite, almost mocking bow, turned around, and trotted away, leaving the fuming lion alone in his trap of a cave, his days of easy meals officially over. So, what's the big takeaway from this classic fable? The moral is usually stated as, take warning from the misfortunes of others, and that's absolutely true. The fox learned from the fatal mistakes of the deer, the zebra, and all the others who walked blindly into danger. He saw the evidence of their doom written in the sand and chose a different path. But I think there's an even deeper lesson here, one that's incredibly relevant in our own lives. This story is a powerful reminder to always be observant, pay attention to the details. In our world of social media, flashy headlines, and get-rich-quick schemes, we are constantly being invited into someone's cave. We're told to step inside for a moment, to buy a product, invest in a project, or believe in an idea. Like the fox, we need to learn to stand back and examine the footprints. Don't just take things at face value. Ask the critical questions. If an offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. If everyone is rushing into something without thinking, maybe it's wise to pause and assess the situation. Look for evidence, not just promises. Are there footprints leading out? In other words, are there success stories? Is there transparency? Or is everyone just disappearing into the hype? The fox wasn't cynical or paranoid. He was just smart. He used his senses and his logic to protect himself. He teaches us that true wisdom isn't about knowing all the answers, but about asking the right questions. It is about trusting your instincts when something feels off and having the courage to stay outside when everyone else is rushing in. So the next time you face a tempting offer or a high-pressure situation, remember the old lion and the clever fox. Take a moment, look at the footprints, and ask yourself, how do people find their way out again? That one simple question might just save you a world of trouble. Thanks so much for hanging out and exploring this timeless story with me today. I hope it gave you some food for thought. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the world of stories and wisdom. Until next time, stay curious and keep an eye on those footprints.